Hello, Nick Westwood here, councillor at the City of Marion. Sorry I've taken so long to come back and do another video. I'll have to do this more often, of course, because I want to communicate both with local people and say a few words to anyone else that will listen on other subjects, not necessarily local stuff. But today, in particular, I want to talk about Australia Day, because in the little article that I put into our local publication, the citywide publication called City Limits, I did actually mention Australia Day and indicated that people should come and have a look at YouTube, and I'd explain further. In brief, or try to keep it reasonably brief, that uh, I was intending to second a motion that was moved in council regarding Australia Day and the way we were to celebrate it or not celebrate it, as the case may be. But as it happens, I didn't second that motion because I did offer the mover a softer version, as I said in the article, but he didn't accept it, which is his choice, of course. He moved the motion, and in which case I decided that I wouldn't second his motion after all, because I found it a little bit too harsh. So that's that, and of course that meant the motion didn't go anywhere. But excuse me, the reason that I was wanting or tempted to second such a motion, at least the softer one that I prepared, for instance, is because I do believe that the Aboriginal people, quite rightly, don't regard, a lot of Aboriginal people, I should say, don't regard Australia Day, the 26th of January, as being a great day to celebrate, because a lot of their relatives that they either would know or know of, let's say second or third hand through the generations, let's say a grandfather, great grandmother or something like that, they the current generation, or let's say people my age, would have had contact with older people in their families who have been either badly done by or perhaps even killed, because a lot of killing, I think, or some killing, I think, still went on early in the 1900s. So there'd be still people around now who have had contact with people who knew the Aboriginal people who've been killed, etc. So it's not like ancient history, like Roman days or something, or let's say 1,000 years ago, when certain people from Europe went over to Britain and conquered Britain, etc., etc., and we don't have a clear memory, actual memory from one generation to another back to that time. We have written record of it, but we don't have the emotional attachment that a lot of Aboriginal people would still have to the terrible things that have happened to their ancestors, because it's only been was it 200, well, almost 250 years coming along, or 230 odd years since that landing, and all that's happened in that time. And as I said, only like early in the 1900s, there would have been some pretty catastrophic treatment of Aboriginal people, and people today would have close association with people who have either been treated badly or know new people who were treated badly. So all in all, it's a fairly fresh history, and I would have to acknowledge that I would be cautious in jumping up and down on the 26th of January, because I know that a good bundle of people in our society quite upset about it because of the very terrible treatment their ancestors have had. So that's the reason that I was tempted to second the motion. As it happens, of course, now the motion, as I said, I offered a softer rewrite of the motion. Mover didn't want to accept it, so I didn't second it. And of course, that's really dead as far as I'm concerned at this stage as an issue, certainly at council level. But I'd still be happy to entertain the idea of looking at and seeing what everyone else thinks of changing the actual day that we celebrate Australia Day, the actual date. Then, but anyway, that we should look at that. I think it's worth looking at. But if we don't come up with a satisfactory solution, well, we may have to live with that date. Yeah. So my main aim, and it's been basically throughout my life, and certainly while I'm in council, is to try to come to arrangements in society where as many people as possible are happy, have good lives, have purpose to their life, and are basically happy. That's what it's really about. It's difficult to measure. Oh, it's not that difficult to measure happiness. If someone's got a smile on their face, well, they're probably fairly happy. But if they've got frowns in their faces, and if they're committing acts of violence and uh, committing crimes, they're probably not that happy. So happiness is something that we can gauge to some degree. Okay, so as far as Australia Day is concerned, I think I've covered that. And I'll talk about other things in other videos another time. And I hope you join me again. And Nick Westwood here, and bye for now.